Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Tuesday morning to you all. Hope you guys are getting up and feeling well out there, feeling swell, and having a great start to your Tuesday and a great week out there so far. Got you an update, as we always do in these morning videos, on what's going to happen weather-wise for today for most of the country. And we're expecting some more snow. We could have some rain, kind of snow shower mix activity, even in areas outside these higher elevations, and we'll talk about who in this video, and then we'll kind of give you an update on what's going on with the snow in West Virginia. Nothing's really changed. You got to be pretty high up in elevation, 3,500, 4,000 feet, to really get into some accumulating May snow action in West Virginia. The crazy snowstorm will begin to taper off later this morning into the afternoon hours in the upper Midwest, like the UP and Michigan. It still continues to snow at this hour. Some pretty crazy totals that I'm waking up to and reading on social media. And with that being said, folks, I would love to do an addition to this channel where you guys send me pictures, even some videos. Videos don't show up as well, but send me some pictures. You can email me. You can send them to me on Facebook, Twitter, and I would like to add like an addition at the beginning of some of the videos, at least every other day, every few days, where I kind of show you folks' pictures that you send me. And even though the summer period is a little bit more of a slower period, I would say more of the active weather shifts further north as far as severe weather. So there's still some active periods out there. I know I've been saying that like crazy over the last few days, how things are going to slow down, but not for everybody. You know, it continues to be somewhat active for certain areas of the country. But what I'm trying to say is, send me some pictures, especially if where you are located happens to be the hot spot of the country where active weather is occurring. Send me some pictures. I would love to see it. Let's get a bird's eye view, kind of a raw view of what's going on at your specific location. If you feel comfortable doing that, definitely do it, and I'll definitely show it on here. Some people have mentioned doing that, and I think it's a great idea. But that being said, if you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put it in the comments below so I can do it and so others can do it also. So look at kind of what's going on. We got ridging kind of developing and just there right in the middle of the country. So we kind of have two blocked low pressures. One is this just pesky low pressure that continues to spin, and then pieces of energy continues to fire up around it. Low pressure's kind of located right in this region right here. This is what's funneled in a lot of heavy snow into the UP and Michigan, northern Wisconsin, even with snowing as far south as like Green Bay yesterday morning. And this is what's created a northwest flow event into West Virginia. And these higher elevations, you know, have seen snow. And we've had kind of rounds of very cool, or some people would say cold, rain showers, some heavy, some producing hail in areas of the Northeast over the last couple days. It might be another day of that, but not as active as the last few days. And then south of this, it's kind of uncommon, but with a big time low pressure way up here, we've actually had some nice weather in the south. It's just been very windy. It'll be another very windy day. I would argue that maybe today's more windier than yesterday, where it was very windy across the south and a lot of areas of the country. We'll talk on that. And then you see this kind of upper trough, upper level low that will kind of become an upper level low, if you will, kind of get more and more cut off from the main flow. This will just kind of spin around too. It's kind of trapped out here, but eventually it will eject in the next day or two, and this will actually create maybe a severe weather event across western Texas. I'm not expecting a huge event out of this, but there's enough kind of oomph to the atmosphere, if you will, that will maybe create a severe weather threat to even today. You have a marginal risk, and we'll talk about that. A little piece of energy will kind of round the base of this troughing, and this piece of energy will provide enough lift for some showers and thunderstorms across New Mexico, Texas, and we'll talk about that. And stay tuned towards the end of the video. We'll give you a little bit of an update on what's going on with the Thursday event, and then we'll get more detailed on it tonight. And remember, occasionally I'm not going to have an evening video for you folks as we get deeper into the summer, and things at times are kind of slow until we get to hurricane season, which I know you folks understand. Just summertime is a great time to hang out with. I'm not saying I don't hang out with my family. I don't want you guys to think that, but summertime is a great time frame where things slow down. I can take a breather and I can really hang out with my family a lot more. That's definitely for sure. And it's the channel growth slows down, but at the same time, it's a nice break. I can tell you that. But you got wind advisories up for these tan areas. It's going to be quite windy across the southeast. Winter storm warning up for these higher elevations still of West Virginia. And you still got winter storm warnings up for the UP of Michigan. Some winter weather advisories. And you also have some freeze warnings up. But, it's really chilly, but there's not really been a big risk of frost or freeze or anything out there, just because it's more so been really, really coolish high temperatures. Low temperatures have not been that low. It's just been really cool high temperatures, if you will. So we haven't really ran a huge risk of any big time frost or freeze out there. But the Storm Prediction Center, you do have a small marginal risk. So you got a level 1 out of 5 chance of severe weather in areas of western Texas, and even kind of a slither of far eastern New Mexico. So we could have some severe weather today. Not much of a tornado threat, if any at all. There will be a 5% risk of damaging winds, or winds pushing 50 knots or higher, and then a 5% risk of hail in 1 inch diameter or larger. So don't be surprised if we get a stronger severe thunderstorm two out here from anywhere from Amarillo all the way to Midland, Texas. So looking at the southeast today, there's not a big reason to stay very long on any individual region because there's not a whole lot going on. But the southeast today, pretty quiet, windy, beautiful but windy day. Now the further north you get, the more you get entrenched in cloud cover and eventually in moisture. You get into these higher elevations of West Virginia, some rain, and then some snow in those higher elevations of West Virginia. But you could get around a rain that moves through Maryland into the Delmarva area. It could be just a rainy kind of damp day. Could get some shower development. You could in the Piedmont of North Carolina, upstate South Carolina, a little bit later this evening. So that's something to watch, but it's not going to be a big deal whatsoever. Snow's still falling, later this evening into West Virginia. And then, it will even, pick up again later tonight into the wee hours of the morning, and it will be snowing as we're waking up for a Wednesday morning, continuing to snow up here in these areas. And we could have mentioned that in this range too, but you can see the snow down there in West Virginia and the Alleghenies of southwest and southern sections of Pennsylvania and western Maryland. But you just still got scattered showers, even some heavy rain, like some of these areas you see in the yellow and reds in Vermont, New Hampshire. They could produce some small hail for sure. And then they become more widespread this afternoon. I would say more so in Vermont, New Hampshire, and southern and New England, and just New England in general. But some of these could definitely put down a lot of small hail. You got a lot of cold air aloft is in place. And a lot of these, and it's cold at the surface too, but not cold enough for this to be snow. But, these is just riding around this low pressure. And, like I said, don't be surprised one bit if you're just driving along and you just hit just a shower with a lot of grapple. It looks like snow or just hail in it, there's a difference between the two. We'll go into that one another day here in the future. But it's ice falling from the sky. But you still got this northwest westerly flow kind of moving into the area. So snow continues to fall in these hills, the Alleghenies down into the mountains of West Virginia. And then you just still got a lot of wet weather up in upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts. It'll taper off later this evening as it's been doing. It gets very active in the afternoon, and it kind of somewhat calms down into the overnight hours, but you continue. And then I would say that the snow begins to pick up here in the southern tier, really southwest New York State, northern and northwest areas of Pennsylvania. Might get a dusting, maybe an inch of snow as we get into the overnight hours and you're waking up to some snow flurries still snowing in West Virginia. So it's certainly something we need to watch here. And then just snowfall between right now and the duration of the event, a couple inches of snow up here in the mountains of Pennsylvania, western Maryland, and you could still get another several inches of snow in the higher elevations of West Virginia. And you look up here in Pennsylvania, and an inch or two of snow is possible just offshore of Lake Erie and south of Buffalo, and these regions right into here, maybe an inch or two of snow. Even in this area right in here of northeast Ohio, inch, maybe 2 inches of snow is certainly possible. It's May, guys. It's pretty wild. If this was, April, the first couple days of April, even then it'd be like, dang, it's April. But it's May. It's pretty wild. These pools are definitely going to have a hard time warming up, even here in the south. But the south central U.S., pretty quiet until we get to just after lunchtime, where you'll see some Showers, maybe a storm or two develop in West Virginia. How does West Virginia and New Mexico sound even remotely close? But New Mexico, Colorado, some showers, and maybe some storm activity develops off that front range in the mountainous regions. And then we got to watch as we get a little bit of a moisture return into western Texas. Got to watch for some showers and storms to develop. Small hail is possible, maybe some gusty winds with these storms. And really, I expect these to form after the sun goes down to the overnight hours. Watch out, the Midland area, certainly Lubbock. I mean, south of Amarillo, I would say this area right in here is really favored. And then this will diminish into the morning hours. You might be waking up to some showery conditions in southwest Oklahoma all the way into Oklahoma City for your Wednesday morning. North central U.S., you're dealing with some snow in the UP of Michigan, and that's West Virginia. I meant to show this here in a second ago, but shows that flow out the northwest. But you go up into Michigan. I'm going to kind of do this on the fly here. Marquette, that's exactly where I wanted to go. It's still snowing like crazy. Let me know what you guys are seeing. I know I got a couple loyal viewers, that Steven, a couple other people that view every single day. Let me know what you're seeing up here. I would love to know, but it's snowing pretty good. Certain areas have picked up well over a foot of snow. And here you go, waking up to a snowy May morning. It's been kind of a weird winter up here. It seems like winter had just been relentless over the last few months. But it's just been kind of, I don't know. You guys can speak. You're up here. Let me know what you would grade kind of the way this winter has been up there. It seems like it's lasted a long time, and just it hasn't been like overly cold, I would say. And you guys can speak for me because you live up here, except the crazy cold blast in December. But you guys have, just because of that jet stream that's been further north with the ridging, you've gotten a lot of snow events up here. But snow continues to come onshore from Lake Superior as you continue to get this northerly flow from this low pressure you see right here. And we continue, but I think as we get into later this afternoon, it will really diminish, and finally things will calm down, and you'll start a little bit of a warming trend beginning tomorrow. But the rest of the north central U.S., not a whole lot going on. But winds today, I want to mention this, and not to kind of jip you guys on the snow totals, but you guys could expect another few inches of snow between now and this afternoon up here. The winds will be intense, especially if you're in these higher elevations, near blizzard conditions possible in those higher elevations of West Virginia. But these are potential wind gusts. It remains windy this morning. 20, 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts. But, I'll stop it here. This is about 1 to 2 p.m. this afternoon. Anywhere from Minnesota all the way down to the southeast, Georgia, the Carolinas. Winds gusting from 20 to 30, at times 40 miles per hour. That's why you got wind advisories down here. So very breezy day will continue. And, you get all the way into this afternoon. You get into this evening. It begins to calm down a little bit. But it's still very windy tonight in the Ohio Valley, areas of the Midwest, and the Great Lakes region, where winds will gust 20 to 30 miles per hour throughout the night. And then we get in tomorrow, and then it's just another day. It's kind of like this low pressure. It reamps itself every day, and it gets rejuvenated as you get into the daytime hours. And then another windy day in the Carolinas, Virginia, Georgia, West Virginia, Ohio, Eastern Kentucky. Another windy day expected tomorrow. Temperatures today, it's starting to warm back up all the way into the northern plains. You're hanging on for dear life with the cold weather in the UP of Michigan, areas of Wisconsin, and the Great Lakes region. But look, the ridging is coming in. It's getting close, and you will have rapid snow melt starting basically the rest of the week. But you're into the 80s in Texas, 70s Oklahoma. You start to get to the 60s and 70s into the plains. A nice spring, very breezy, almost March-like day in the southeast. It's warm in Texas, but more so April kind of conditions, though. Breezy like March, but temperatures are more like April here in the southeast. But once you start to get in the northern VA, West Virginia, points north, you're locked into a very chilly, almost fall-like air mass up here. Looking ahead, Thursday is the day you have to watch for severe weather. You got a slight risk. That's a level 2 out of 5. Right now, a low risk of all hazards are possible. I know when I say all hazards, that's kind of worrisome, but it's kind of a low risk of all hazards. So we'll see if this increases. It's a dry line setup, but it looks like to me it has ticked a little bit further east, which brings it into more highly populated areas. So it is something we need to watch. When you have like this upper troughing and really this little upper level low, it's just not very strong. It's just out here. Anytime you have like a little impulse of energy that rounds the base of this, it brings up moisture and it immediately creates enough oomph, which I like to say, to the atmosphere to spark some thunderstorm development. And, even though you don't have a prime setup for severe weather, this can happen often. And these events can kind of not come out of nowhere, but kind of emerge within a day or two of the actual day it's supposed to happen. So we just watch this. And outside of this, I'm watching another system later next week. We might talk a little bit on that tonight in tonight's video, but we'll watch Thursday. I'll give you some good information on that tonight, so stay tuned. But here it is. You see this little upper level low. It's spinning right here. We'll finally lose this and stop being influenced by it as this heads on off finally into the North Atlantic. But this is our little spin, and as we get into Thursday, this little upper level low will eventually have a negative tilt to it. A little short wave will fire off of it right into this region, and as it does, you see it right in here. You see how you have the yellows and oranges? That's energy. Think of that as energy to the atmosphere. This will create that oomph to the atmosphere, lift and create some severe storms, bring in some low-level moisture northward into this region, create a dry line setup, and we will have a little bit of a severe weather threat as we get into our Thursday, and this will eject across the Rockies eventually. That's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all of y'all, and I'll talk to you this evening.